All right, we're entering the Yellow Sea, just south of South Korea. Taking this out the cabin starboard side window in our cabin. 130-foot depth, very shallow seas, maybe contributes to the light green color. The swells are maybe at least 10 feet, 50-mile-an-hour winds. Did I say that? I don't know. What is the temperature, John, outside? It's cold. I'm going to back up.
Humidity's 59%.
59% humidity. I'm going to back up a little. You can see the swells and the winds. Here's some islands off of South Korea. And you can see the seas just slopping around. And that's about it. Oh, okay. I'll turn around to the screen.
That's a map of where we're heading. This is our boat.
Yeah, right there.
That's a better shot.
Okay. Show the boat. Quick.
That's the boat.
Right there. That's South Korea. Japan.
Incheon is right here.
Incheon is Seoul. Incheon is the port, and then we drive to Seoul to the DMZ. I guess we're going to be. Here's a show where the ship is. Quick.
This is the ship. This is our projected route.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Signing off. This guy's scraping up ice on the deck.
Go! Gotcha.
Oh, don't fall.
What can you find? You can find China. So I was told that
Traveling to
American
Seoul,
wants to keep an eye on China.
South
try
Korea.
to relocate the base from Seoul Yongsan to the Pyeongtaek. Okay. And then the one more thing I really hope that you can remember, we call it MDL, stands for Military Demarcation Line. And that's Seoul without Busan. BUSAN. But if you look at the maps published before year 2001, it was written as a Busan. PUSAN.
During the next 10 years, Japan established military and economic dominance over Korea, and ultimately annexed the nation in 1910. However, Japanese rule was short-lived. Towards the end of the Second World War, the United States bombed the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and Russia invaded the Korean peninsula. Japan surrendered to the Allied forces in 1945, ending 35 years of Japanese occupation of Korea, and leading to a new political dynamic that has shaped Korea as we know it today. The United States were wary of Korea falling completely into the hands of the Soviets, and hence, working on a very short notice, appointed 2 young officers, who then used a National Geographic map as the basis of deciding the border. The 30th parallel was chosen, as it divided the country approximately in half, and even placed the capital Seoul under American occupation. To their surprise, the Soviets accepted the division. It was decided that Korea would remain under their trusteeship for a period of 5 years until 1950, and gradually be ushered into independence. A Soviet-US Joint Commission met the following year and tried to work towards a unified Korea, but failed to make any progress as a state of geopolitical tension ensued between the two nations. The difference in their ideology deepened the division, and the Commission couldn't succeed in its objective. The US brought the issue to the UN, who passed a resolution in 1947 declaring that free elections should be held, foreign troops should be withdrawn, and a UN Commission for Korea should be set up. The Soviets boycotted the voting. They held veto power, and in the absence of their support, UN-supervised elections were held in the south only. On August 15, 1948, the Republic of Korea formally came into existence, with Syngman Rhee being elected its first president. In the north, a communist regime under Kim Il-sung came to power, and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea was proclaimed the same year. The Americans and the Soviets withdrew from Korea, handing power to their respective governments. Many Koreans saw this as a prelude to a permanent division of the country. Two separate nations with diametrically opposed political, economic, and social systems emerged. Both governments claimed to be the legitimate government of all of Korea, and neither side accepted the border to be permanent. After being part of the same nation for more than a millennium, the split was unacceptable to both sides. In 1950, the Soviets allegedly gave Kim Il-sung the go-ahead to invade the south in order to unite the nation. They calculated that the Americans would not intervene. Mao Zedong, who received North Korean support during the Chinese Civil War, also agreed to send reinforcements if needed. With Stalin and Mao's assurances, North Korean troops crossed over the 30th parallel in June the same year. Within 2 months, South Korea were on the verge of defeat, being pushed all the way back to the Busan perimeter. The UN recognized this as an act of invasion and launched a counter-offensive at Inchon in September, cutting off numerous North Korean troops. Those who managed to escape retreated north all the way to the Chinese border. The Chinese forces entered the war, and this time the UN forces were forced to retreat. Territory changed hands many times and finally stabilized around the 30th parallel. An armistice was signed in 1953, and the Korean Demilitarized Zone was created, separating the two nations. It is ironically one of the most heavily militarized regions in the world today. An estimated 2.5 million civilians were either killed or wounded during the Korean War. No peace treaty was signed, and technically the two Koreas are still at war. Periodic clashes, many of which are deadly, continue to this day. Kim Il-sung's grandson, Kim Jong-un, is the current supreme leader of North Korea and is aggressively expanding their nuclear program, conducting numerous missile tests and sparking widespread fear in the international community. Numerous sanctions have been placed on the nation by the United States and others, and with the recent impeachment of South Korean President Park Geun-hye, it will be interesting to see how things go forward.
yellow lights, 4-kilometer wide in DMZ. Right now we are located here. But from the beginning, start of the tour, do you remember that Incheon, where we had a toilet break, restroom break? And then, after here, we crossed the unification bridge. Passport check. Passport check. And then when we passport check, I told you to watch the
From the outside, the North Korean village of Kijongdong looks like any other town, brightly painted houses, schools, daycare, even a hospital. But on closer inspection, all is not as it seems. Sitting in the heavily guarded demilitarized zone that separates North and South Korea, Kijongdong is widely referred to as the propaganda village and is believed to be a decoy for luring South Korean defectors. Built in the DMZ, the town claims to have 200 residents and boasts an image of economic success. However, observations from the south have suggested that Kijongdong is fake and is devoid of human life. The buildings are actually concrete shells with no glass in their windows. Electric lights operate on an automatic timer, and the only people in sight are maintenance workers who sweep the streets to give the impression of activity. Named Peace Village by North Korea, it has been used by the government as a battleground for supremacy between the two powers. In the 1980s, the South Korean government built a 323-foot-tall flagpole in the opposite city of Seongdong to antagonize the North. This village is also in the DMZ. This was quickly countered by North Korea, which built a 525-foot-tall flagpole in response. It was at the time the tallest flagpole in the world. Until 2004, massive loudspeakers delivered DPRK, Democratic People's Republic of Korea, propaganda broadcasts to the south that praised North Korea's virtues and urged disgruntled soldiers and farmers to walk across the border. When this approach failed to lure defectors, the speakers began blasting 20 hours a day of anti-Western rhetoric, communist operas, and patriotic marching music. In 2004, both countries agreed to end their loudspeaker broadcasts to each other. However, they have since resumed. The village is surrounded by extensive cultivated fields, with the North Korean government officially claiming it is a collective farm for its residents. What residents? It surely is a lot of effort just to keep up appearances. Please enjoy some Korean landscapes and faces while I explain the tunnel. In an effort to invade South Korea, North Korea built many tunnels under the 2.5-mile wide demilitarized zone, sometimes 240 feet below ground. So far, only 4 tunnels have been discovered, but as many as 20 more are thought to be existing. Tunnel number 3 was discovered in 1978, following the detection of an underground explosion and also with the help of a defector. Of course, North Korea said they were digging a coal mine, a resource not possible in granite rock. This tunnel could have accommodated 30,000 soldiers per hour, along with light weaponry. Today, the third tunnel is a well-guarded tourist site, and you can believe our passports were thoroughly examined before we could get off our bus. This incomplete tunnel is 1 mile long, 6.5 feet high, and almost 7 feet wide. Tourists either walk down a steep pathway or take a small rubber-tired train down to the actual North Korean tunnel. At that point, with hard hat firmly in place, you walk bent over, if you are tall like I am, about 290 yards to a point where the South Koreans have built a concrete wall that has a little window through which you may peek towards another wall. Photography is forbidden, so I have included internet video and pictures taken on the sly.
I'm in the third tunnel built by the North Koreans to possibly invade South Korea. And we're going down. It's very steep and very long. All right, let's go ahead. You got to duck when you go through here.
Park. Chopsticks, please.
Anyone need more water? Oh, we go to the market in Inchon, Seoul market. So look around. Also, they have a nice apartment. Brand name is Tower Palace. Tower Palace apartment is the most expensive apartment. How much are cost for 3 bedroom? I told you 2.2 million US dollars, something like that.
Inchon in a market.
They're cooking something.
They can climb out too. How pretty.
오빤 강남스타일 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일 에이 섹시 레이디 오빤 강남스타일 에이 섹시 레이디 뛰는 놈 그 위에 나는 놈 Baby baby 나는 뭘 좀 아는 놈 뛰는 놈 그 위에 나는 놈 Baby baby 나는 뭘 좀 아는 놈 You know what I'm saying 오빤 강남스타일 Sexy lady 오빤 강남스타일 Sexy lady 오빤 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일